Hi, this is Jacob Nash of JNGL, and this is Unit 4, Lesson 4, about special right triangles, Standard 4.5. This is the last thing for this unit. So what is a special right triangle? It is a triangle that has certain angles that mean different things for the sides of the triangle. So there's different angles, and if you know those angles, you're going to be expected to know what relationships the sides have. And here's the steps into finding the lengths of the sides. First you label, then you solve, then you plug in. That's the three things you need to do. The first kind, and there are only two, the first kind is 45, 45, 90. So basically, if you know one angle is 45, you know the other one's 45 also. And obviously that means that square means right triangle, and they add up to 180, so that's a triangle. And what relationships the sides have is that the two sides that form the right angle are going to be equal and can be represented by the letter T. And then the hypotenuse, it is going to be the same as legs times the square root of 2. If that doesn't make sense, it will once we get to the example on this next slide. So find A and B. Well, like I said, the steps are label, solve, and plug in. So first label. Well, we know that the legs are represented as T, and then the hypotenuse is represented as T times the square root of 2. So if we know these are equal, we can know that A is 13. And then B, we plug in for T. Well, anyway, sorry, we solved. Solving was finding out that T was 13. And then plugging in. Now we're plugging T in. We found that you plug that in, that's just 13. You plug it in here, 13 root 2. That is the answer to what B equals. You can leave it just as that. The second kind is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This one's a little bit different, but if you know that one is 30, then the other ones are 60 and 90. 90's obviously the one that has that square once again, and then 60 is the other one. That's an acute angle. So we know that this time no certain angle is equal, but the one that's across from the 30 degrees, so here's 30 degrees, across from it, this is that side, this is the one that is across from it, it will be your M. And when you're talking about the 30, 60, 90, you represent M as the side lengths. And then if the one that's across from the 60 degree marking is this side, and that is represented by M root 3. And then the one that's across from the 90, the hypotenuse, is 2M. So that's something to know. Okay? And here's what that means. So you can try to solve, and here's how you would do that. First, label. Okay, well, across from the 30, that's right here. That means this is the M. It's good to find M first because it's by itself. It doesn't have any odd things with it. The one that's across from the 60 is this 17. So 17 is what we're given. We're given that 17 equals M root 3. And then D is going to be our 2M. Yes, because it's across from the 90 degree marking. And so now we solve. Well, this time we can't just plug it in because M is not 17. M root 3 is 17. So we just set them equal. That's what we can do. So m root 3 equals 17. Now you might be stuck and be thinking like, what do I even do? Well, when you're in a situation like this, you want to get m by itself, right? So you just have to get rid of whatever's with it. So you can get rid of the root 3 by dividing it, and it would cancel out from m. And then you also have to do it on the other side. So technically m is 17 over the square root of 3, but that doesn't work because when square roots are on the bottom, that is not a thing. That's just like when you have like improper fractions like 14 over 3, like something like that. That doesn't work. So we have to change it. So how you can do that is multiply it both the numerator and denominator by the denominator, which is square root of 3. And then we would know on the top we will just have 17 root 3. And on the bottom, you multiply those, you get the square root of 9. And we know that's just 3. So divided by 9. Then we have to combine like terms. So we have the 17 and 9. So 17 divided by 9. We're going to round to the nearest tenth, so that's 1.8. Or, sorry, that's actually 1.9. And then root 3. 1.9 root 3 is what our m is. So we did all of that just to find this m. But now it gets a little easier when you want to find the d, which is 2m. So all you have to do is 2 times what m is. That's 1.9 root 3. And all you have to do is combine like terms. The 3 will stay the same, the root 3, but we just do 2 times 1.9, and we get 3.8. So d equals 3.8 root 3. So that can be a little challenging. Sometimes you'll have to do that, but remember the steps for simplifying roots. Now we have a rule that might help you and make it quicker for some of your 45, 90 angles. So here's what the rule is. If you know the hypotenuse, which is across from the angle, in this case that would be the 78, you can divide it by 2 and add a root 2 to it. Not literally, but just like stick it beside it to where it's like it's times that. And then to get the legs of a 45, 90 degree angle. But the hypotenuse must be a whole number for this to work. I mean, it could be a decimal number, like 1.4 or something. But it just can't be something that's like this. It can't be like square root of 1 or something. It can't, well, it could, because that's something you know, but something like square root of 17. It couldn't be that, because you don't know that. Well, here's what I mean by that. Let's look on this. So we have the 78. That is the hypotenuse. And since these are equal, these sides are equal, we know this is a 45, 90 angle. That's the only way it would work. We go back to our unit 3, and we know that if certain sides are equal, so are the angles. And they only could be that because we have this right angle. So we can divide 78 by 2, and we get 39. So we can put a 39 here, but that is not our length for both of those. Remember, you still have to add the root 2 on the side. So that would save you a lot of time. And if you actually want to do that, if you know that t root 2 will equal 78, because that's what's labeled. But remember, on our other slide right here, if you're ever doing something like that, it takes such a long time. But this is a little shortcut, but you have to keep in mind the rules that it has to be this kind of triangle. You have to add this thing onto it, and it has to be a whole number. So that's something to know. We have some practice. 5 problems. I starred number 3 and 5 because they deal with the crazy long thing. So you might have to make sure you understand those because those are a little harder. And then 6 I X'd out. It was a word problem, and you might need to know some word problems, but it was one that I made up myself, and I realized that it did not make sense at all once I tried to solve it, and it did not work at all. So don't do that one. Just do 1 through 5. And this time I don't have enough time to explain it, but I can go through the answers. So you can pause. And here's the answers. And I even did the work, so you can pause the video and see what I did. And if you really have a question, well, you can't comment. Sorry, I had to turn off the comments on my videos because there's issues going on with some random spammer things. So in a different video, I will say what my email is so that you could email me if you had a problem. But here's what the answers are for each problem. And thanks for watching. Hopefully you do good, and I'll put out a review for this unit. Thank you.